All right. Welcome to the John David Ebert School for the Study of Culture, Cosmology, and the Arts. I have a new class that begins on Saturday, July 15th at 2 p.m. MST, and will continue for a total of 8 weeks, including that one to September 2nd, on the evolution of media studies. And so what I want to do with this class is to go through the foundation of media studies. Marshall McLuhan, of course, would be the core, naturally, of any such media studies class. He's the center of it all, of course. But it really does begin with Harold Innis, and so here is the curriculum that we'll be studying across the 8 weeks. The first course will be an introductory overview to the subject, and then for the second course, we'll discuss Empire and Communications, which is written right after Marshall McLuhan has written his first book, The Mechanical Bride. He puts that out, but at that point, McLuhan is still naive about the medium being the message. The Mechanical Bride is all about the content of various ads. It's mostly focused on advertising. But he read then his colleague Harold Innis's book at the University of Toronto on Empire and Communications, which was published in between The Mechanical Bride and Understanding Media. And he goes through the history of media, and he looks at, for example, the Mesopotamian writing in cuneiform on clay tablets, and how that interacts with the Babylonian Empire, how it speeds up communication, and what are the differences between that and the Egyptians writing on papyrus. So the medium matters, and so he walks you through the entire history. It's an excellent book, the entire history of media. And then so McLuhan read that, and he realized at that point that it's the medium that matters, not the content. The naive media theory up to that point had been this Shannon-Weaver model of communication, where you get a signal that is sent from a sender to a receiver, and the signal goes through a channel, and the signal can be distorted by noise, which is the sort of equivalent in media studies of entropy. But it's totally naive about the nature of the medium that's doing the sending in that model, and so McLuhan goes around that and focuses in understanding media on the nature of the media. So we'll look at, in understanding media, we will look at McLuhan's book in two parts. So we'll do it in two classes because it's a big book, and it really will be the core of the program. And then Father Walter Ong, he was a Catholic priest. We'll look at his little book on orality and literacy, which is a fundamental book for understanding how orality works in opposition to literacy, two totally different mentalities. And then we'll look at Wilhelm Flusser, who is a little studied and little known media theoretician from Germany who migrated to Brazil and wrote most of his great books there in the 70s and the 80s. He wrote Does Writing Have a Future?, which is a book we'll be talking about, and also, I think even more importantly, his book on Into the Universe of Technical Images. Then we'll look at Leonard Schlehn's book, The Alphabet versus the Goddess, which is a rather brilliant, and I knew Leonard Schlehn in San Francisco back when he was alive. We had several discussions. I gave him my book to read, The Celluloid Goddess and the Mechanical Dragon, so I gave him that book, and anyhow, he loved it. And we were collaborating on a project with each other for a little while, but it fell through. But I think his book is brilliant for bringing comparative mythology together with media studies. It's the first time that was ever attempted. And so far as I know, it hasn't been attempted since. And then finally, we'll finish with my own book that I put out in 2011 called The New Media Invasion, where I applied these kinds of media studies approaches to things like Facebook, the internet generally, Google, anything that we're dealing with now. And I go through that book and discuss what the media, Wikipedia, for instance, WikiLeaks, it has essays on all of those various aspects. So I'm only finishing with my book, not for an ego trip or anything like that, but simply because it's up to date. It's out of all these books, I'm following a chronology here from about 1950 down to my book in 2011 to try and keep current with the media. The course costs $250, and here's the button to enroll. Just click the link and enroll, and you'll be all set to go. I do have previous courses still available for $150 each, and not just these three. There are more. I have a handful of others, such as the history of German idealist philosophy. Teachable only allows you to put 3 of them on here at a time. If you're interested in any of those other classes, such as understanding mythology or the class we did on Thomas Mann's novel, The Magic Mountain, hit me up at johndavidebert@gmail.com, and I can let you know. I can send those classes to you through Gmail for the 150. All right, that's it, and I look forward to seeing you in class.